Timcast IRL will be live in Miami with Patrick Bet David, Donald Trump Jr., Matt Gaetz, and Luke Rudkowski. Join us there. Get your tickets by clicking the link in the description below or by going to timcast.com. Let me play this video. Clown World posted this clip that's made the rounds for a few years, and I'm going to play it came back recently, but I'm going to play it for you here. This is your proof that we are dealing with a cult. Hope you enjoy.
About racism, anti-blackness, or violence.
I love this every time. It's so good.
I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible. And do everything in my power to educate my community.
This is called a profession of faith.
Yep.
And this is like the Nicene Creed.
100%.
I will love my black neighbors
So
the same as my white ones.
Look at what they're worshiping with their hands.
They got their face muzzles on.
It's their profession of faith.
Science
Absolutely.
kill me,
This is a cult. There is no. So let's talk about a religion versus a cult. Religions, and this is what's funny because there's a lot of people who like to call Christianity a cult. And I'm like, well, maybe when I was 17, I might have said something like that. But then you learn about the prominent and well-respected philosophers of olden days who happen to be Christians, their teachings, their writings, very, very brilliant things were written by many people who are Christian, Catholic, or otherwise. Mm-hmm. And we still look to these when we reference law. Blackstone's formulation, for instance, which lends to the Fifth and Sixth Amendments. I mean, a plethora of the Bill of Rights, actually. And it's rooted in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible. You have a religion where people are asking deep philosophical, moral, and spiritual questions. You have a cult, which does none of those things, doesn't believe in any of it, blindly follows without question. These people are worshiping nothing. Nothing. There's no tenets. There's no moral framework. There's nothing to live by. Just the power of those who are the high priests and priestesses of the cult. That's why it's a cult.
And their 5 minutes of hate. Don't forget about their 5 minutes of hate.
Yes, thank you. Orwell, yes, absolutely. And by the way, they have their hands in the air. And as you say, Tim, they're worshiping nothing, but they're in this secular rapture. And what they're repeating is all words of love and tolerance. Use your voice for good. They are the most vicious, intolerant monsters on the face of the earth. Not everybody. A lot of these people just get sucked in. They don't even know what they're doing. But the leaders leading these kinds of movements are the most vicious and evil, and we should talk about all this stuff in spiritual terms. Evil is at the root of so much of what we see.
And let's be real here, because I can already hear the defense from many of these liberal leftist types, and I hate calling them liberals because they're not really liberal, saying like, oh, and religions didn't have cults and blah, blah. It's like, dude, look, a lot of people were killed in the name of God. You name the religion, and there's religious conflict and war, zealots, and cult-like behavior, and really awful things. I'm simply saying there's a difference between a cult and a religion. There seems to be a purpose to a religion. There are bad actors and there are good actors, just like there are good humans and bad humans anywhere. Within cults, it is meaningless, collectivist zealotry. Mm-hmm. So you look at this crowd in this video. What do you think would happen if, say, like Andy Ngo walked through it?
Assault, battery,
Right.
blood.
And we know that's true because it's quite literally what they did to him. Yeah. Imagine what would happen if someone like Billboard Chris walked by this filming and tried to ask them questions.
Same story.
Same story, and we know because it's happened to him. But the funny thing is, when there was a Trump rally in the Pacific Northwest and a guy showed up doing Nazi salutes and screaming racial slurs, what did the Trump supporters do? They told him to leave and he wasn't welcome because they didn't want the hate. Really amazing. This is a cult. You have people, it's fascinating. You have the saying that, a lot of progressives like to say the old world is dying and the new world struggles to be born. They're referencing their weird cult religion trying to emerge. Mm-hmm. But the reality is the old world is the uniparty establishment that's been around since perhaps 1913 or slightly before then, and then implemented with a lot of these changes we saw over the past century. And now you have two new worlds trying to be born. The resurgence of the constitutional republic or the progressive neo-Marxist revolution. The establishment uniparty took over a long time ago and morphed this country into something grotesque. Foreign wars for empire, nation building, garbage nonsense. And now you have, with Bernie Sanders and with Trump, these two factions popping up and trying to establish their worldview. I happen to like the constitutional republic and the Constitution and the individual liberties, meritocracy, and things like that. And I'm opposed to blind zealotry. So it's fascinating that in this culture war, we can hang out with Seamus Coughlin, a devout Catholic, every day on this show for 6 months out of the year for the past couple of years. And we'll have questions and conversations about faith and religion with smiles on our faces. And then we'll go to Waffle House afterwards and we'll laugh and make jokes together, because that's what the constitutional republic was. This great melting pot of people trying to understand each other. In their world, if you disagree, you are the enemy and they physically attack you. They then accuse their enemies of being the ones who physically attack people when they don't.
Well, and this was part of, let's say, the old America or a better America, the America of the past, is that rich people and poor people, they shared the same sidewalks, they shared the same restaurants, they shared the same bars, they went to the same ball games, they flew on the same airlines, and that was it. Whether you were rich, whether you were poor, whether you were middle class, everybody respected the fact that, hey, we're all rich in freedom. And so we can all share the same things and we can all get along because we appreciate our freedoms more than we care about how much money the guy to my left has or how poor the guy to my left is. And now it's this elitism that we see where the financial elite, the global elite, believe that they have the moral high ground and it's their duty to tell us how to live. And what's really frustrating, and I'm not a big historian, but I've had people reach out to me and veterans and people, and they say, Owen, in my day, we used to invade countries for what they're doing to you. We used to go into banana republics and we would shut that down and we would try to restore a constitutional republic. And so or maybe even form a democracy, as they would at least used to claim. And so what's frustrating is that we went through an entire century of testing this methodology, right? What works better, communism or free market capitalism? Look at what was built in the West versus the fall of Russia, right? Or if you want to maybe a better example, look at North Korea compared to South Korea. Well, now it's like we have to learn the lessons of the 20th century all over again?
Yes.
I want to show this meme real quick to prove Owen's point. This is Christy Yamaguchi Main said, the Taco Bell drive-thru at 1 a.m. will have a $200,000 Mercedes S65 waiting right behind a 96 Cavalier that's never had the oil changed, followed by a moped ridden by 3 people, all craving the same thing, to live Mas. Truly the last great melting pot of class in this country.
That's it.
But this is literally true, because we got a local Taco Bell out here, and I didn't have Taco Bell in like a decade. And then me and my girlfriend were driving. Oh, no. What first happened was we were with Seamus, and we drove past a Taco Bell, and Seamus was like, he asked us if we wanted to live Mas. And we were like, I mean, Taco Bell is really good. And so I'm in a Tesla, and we pull up behind like a Honda Civic, and there's like a Toyota, and it's exactly this story. We just, cheesy gordita crunches, man. Those are good. But that's the thing about America, is that what I truly love about this country, having traveled all over the world, the idea that some working class dude with dirt on his hands can be standing on the sidewalk when the mayor of his city of 2 million walks by, and he can give him the middle finger and say, F you, you're a scumbag. And they can't do anything about it.
Well, not anymore.
Oh, now it's
Look
getting
at what's
crazy.
happening to Owen. I mean, you try that and you're likely to get arrested, right?
Joe Biden is a pedophile.
Wait, you're not quoting my sentencing document, are you? Hold on, we're not getting into that yet.
Look, we're trying to apply logic here, right? And the other side is not engaged in logic whatsoever. They're deeply immersed in ideology, of course. But what trumps ideology for the left is power. It's the pursuit of power, it's the acquisition of power, and it's the exercise of power. That is what drives them. So what we just described with Taco Bell, that's the way America is supposed to be. America has always been an aspirational society. We don't hate the guy in the Mercedes. We all want to be the guy in the Mercedes, right? And achieve. And the left realized that there was no currency in that. So they realized they could not gain a foothold of power in America if we all loved each other and we were all aspirational and we all supported each other. So
Happy people don't revolt. I say this all the time. Happy people with good families don't revolt.
They came right in with divide and conquer. And that's what all of this is, whether it's gender, race, political values, doesn't matter. They have come in with giant wedges to blow us all apart.
Yep.
And it is, in my opinion, it's a crime against humanity.
You mentioned race, and back in, I think it was probably the 50s, this guy, Herbert Marcuse, which you probably heard his name.
Yeah.
Herbert Marcuse pointed out that the revolutionary energy was no longer in the working class because capitalism delivers the goods. Your average person that will go to work and, not be late and do their job, they won't be poor. If you're in America, Ben Shapiro says this, if you're in America, you finish high school, you don't have a kid outside of marriage, and you get a job and keep it for a couple of years, you will not be in poverty in America. Now, what poverty means to some people might be different, but you're not going to be destitute. You're not going to be broke. You're not going to be unable to pay your bills. You're not going to be unable to feed yourself if you follow those 3 rules. But the communists, or Marcuse was saying that when the revolutionary energy was no longer in the working class, you had to go to race Marxism. And that's where all of the intersectional stuff has come from, basically trying to put different races against each other, because when society was all focused on everybody trying to be basically a classical liberal, trying to better themselves, society works together. When you have the ability to separate people by classes, then you have the ability to cause fights and chaos.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.